Hello everyone. It is great honor to stand in front of all of you to share the Word of God. Today we will read Genesis chapter 9 from verse 1 to 3. We will talk about the Noah's inheritance. Noah, he became an heir of God after the Noah's flood. Let's read from verse 1. So God blessed Noah and his sons, and said to them, Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth. And the fear of you and the dread of you shall be on every beast of the earth, on every bird of the air, on all that move on the earth, and on all the fish of the sea. They are given into your hand. Every moving thing that lives shall be food for you. I have given you all things, even as the green herbs. Yes, I read up to verse 3. Today, we can read how Noah received all the authority to have dominion and rule over all the creature of this earth. Noah received salvation not because of his good works, not by his good effort, because by entering into the Noah's Ark. This Noah's Ark represents Jesus Christ. So Noah's story teaches us how we can receive forgiveness of sin and become born again. If we receive this forgiveness of sin, and if we receive the redemption and avoid all the judgment of God through Jesus Christ, you are not just going to end of your life after receiving salvation. In other words, after receiving salvation, after receiving forgiveness of sin, if you are saved through Jesus Christ, if you are saved by the works of Jesus Christ, you can start a new life. This new life is the life as an heir of God. What is an heir? As I keep on preaching these days through Sunday sermon and also through Bible study, if you received forgiveness of sin and believed the salvation of Jesus Christ, redemption of Jesus Christ, we all receive sonship from God. If you became a son of God, you can receive all the power, authority, and strength from God. Like father inherit all the possession to the son, then successor, son, will possess everything belongs to their father. No matter how son is not good at work or uneducated, do not know how to manage the fund, if father gives all the possession and inherit to the son, son can inherit all the possession of his father and become rich. Yes, not because of our good works, but because of the good works of Jesus Christ, we all became a children of God and became a son of God. So Bible says we became an heir of God and joint heir with Jesus Christ. This is an amazing fact, and this is an amazing story and amazing power that we can use as a son of God. Imagine if you were a son of a very rich family. You can enjoy many things belongs to your father. Although you are not good at study, although you are not good at work, you are not smart, you don't know how to manage the fund. If your father is rich, if your father were so tremendous rich man, then you can also enjoy everything belongs to your father. So if your father passed away, all his possession will be upon you. You will success all the things. Likewise, Jesus Christ, now he is ascended. He is sitting on the right hand of God. He is in the heaven. So as Jesus goes into heaven, goes back to heaven, he has given all the power, authority, wisdom unto us so that we can use as a son of God. We can live as a son of God. If you receive the salvation, if you receive the righteousness of God, if you received this holiness, if you received salvation through the works of Jesus Christ, now you can inherit all the things belongs to Jesus. Jesus received all the authority of the heaven and the earth. So this Jesus Christ is going to be with us until the end of the life. So here, if you read Noah's story, through the flood, many people of the earth, except for Noah's family, all of the human and all the animals were judged by the flood. This very scary flood came and killed all the people of this world, all the creature. So now, only Noah and Noah's family received salvation through entering into the ark. Which means those who receive salvation through Jesus Christ, those who believe the works of Jesus and sacrifice of Jesus can only receive all the power and authority to rule over this remaining world. So when Noah came out from the ark, God gave and restored all the power and authority unto Noah for Noah to rule over everything. So if you read from verse 1, we can understand how God really wanted to bless Noah and Noah's family to rule over, have dominion, and control all the living creature of this world as a master, as a leader, as a son of God in this world. After this world finished, after world was judged by God, God is giving all that power unto Noah to rule over. Likewise, if you received salvation, if you received the works of Jesus Christ, if you received forgiveness of sin and received the sonship from God, who become an heir of God, who become a master of this world, who can have dominion over all this world? Yes, the one who believes, the one who received true salvation through Jesus Christ can inherit all the things belongs to Jesus. Jesus wanted to continue work in this earth, but he has to go back to his Father. As Jesus being ascended, he gave and he left his all the tool, all the resource unto us for those who received salvation, to the true Christian who believed and joined into the works of Jesus. This is how we can become an heir of Jesus Christ. But today, I want to ask you a question. Even though you received all this sonship, although you received all this power, do you know who can really use this power in their actual life, in their daily life? When we read the Bible, God gave such opportunity for many people to use the power and wisdom of God. God actually has given this position and wisdom and faith unto many different types of people. But there are only few people written in the Bible as a person who used that power of God, who lived as a true heir of God. Who are they? Let me give you an example. Between Saul and David, both of them, they were a king of Israel. God anointed them to become a king of Israel. Although Saul was anointed as a king by God, and also David was anointed as a king by God. And both of them, God has given them a 40 years period to rule over this Israel. But how was the life of Saul? And how was the life of David? Although God promised both of them, I will be with you, I will work for you, and I will answer to all your requests and prayer. Although God supported two of them and anointed them in the same position as a king of Israel, Saul, he couldn't use this power of God. He couldn't apply the teachings and the faith in his life. In other words, he couldn't live in this world as an heir of God. Although God gave him that power, although God gave him that position of the king, he couldn't use this power of God and lived very, very miserable life. Whenever Palestine come, he had no choice but to afraid of them and running away from them and trying to block the Palestinians. But there was no one who could fight on behalf of Saul. Saul, although he was king, he had no choice but to make all the Israel people to fall in despair, fall into the fear. But David was different. David, when he received this kingship, when he was anointed as a king, even before he became a king, he believed what? He believed God anointed him as a king, and God is with him. And he received this sonship from God to use as a powerful son of God and as an heir of God. So since he was young, he could go and fight against with Goliath, although he didn't have any tools and arms on his hand. David, he believed, what? God is with me. God anointed me as a king of this Israel. God will help me. So he always believed the promise of God, word of God, and the God's will. Although king, he was on the position of a king. God anointed him as a king. God wanted to give him all the power, and God promised him to support him, to help him. But David, instead of believing the word of God and promise of God, will of God, he always followed his own view, his own understanding, his own common sense. This is how he couldn't use this power which came from God. He couldn't use the power of the heir as an heir of God. So, the secret of David was written in Acts chapter 13 verse 22. The book of Acts chapter 13 verse 22 says, "And when he had removed him, this him is Saul, he raised up for them David as king, to whom also he gave testimony and said, I have found David the son of Jesse, a man after my own heart, who will do all my will." Here is the secret. God was very delighted to use David, to help David, to work with David. Why? Because David always had one same heart with God. If God says, I will uphold you, I will help you, I will support you, go and strike that, go and overtake it. Regardless of all the situation and circumstance, he always united his heart into the will of God, into the promise of God. He didn't try to understand, interpret things of this world with his own eyes, according to his own sight, according to his own view or common sense. Whether he could understand it or not, whether he agreed or disagreed. he always united his heart into the Word of God. What does God say? What does God promise? So his focus was always on the promise and the Word of God, regardless of all the situation happening around him. That is why Bible says, the man I have found, David, the son of Jesse. He is a David, a man after my own heart. He always had one heart with God. That is why God promised, he is the one who will do all my will. While he was working, God has no choice but to give him a power, wisdom, authority, all the strength upon David so that David could achieve everything as a king of this world. Now let me tell you my own story, how I could use the power of God. One of our church brother went to his family because his mom was critically sick. So when he went to his family, he started to share how he received salvation and received forgiveness of sin. When he shared this testimony, his mom was so delighted to listen to that message because her mom was also suffering from sin and didn't know how to get rid of this all the burden and also condemnation. After listening to the message from his son, he also believed that Jesus died on the cross and washed all of her sin and made her holy, righteous. After receiving this salvation, she was so happy and was peaceful. But because of her sickness, she was admitted in the hospital and she was diagnosed by a doctor. Doctor called her son, our brother, our church brother, and told him, "Oh, I'm sorry, your mom is suffering from cerebral hemorrhage. So blood vessel in the cerebral is bleeding. So your mom is not able to talk, is not able to do all the things. She has to go for the brain surgery within 2 months. Otherwise, she's going to die within 2 months." So this brother called me, "Oh, Pastor, my mom is in such despair and trouble now. What can we do? I think my mom is going to die." But in my heart, I also had that kind of fear and worry. Oh, how is she going to live anymore? In my heart, I had worry and I also doubted, is God able to heal her? But on the other side, God gave me a one promise in the Word of God. John chapter 11 verse 4. When Jesus heard that, he said, "The sickness is not unto death, but for the glory of God." This is what Jesus spoke to the Nazareth. The sickness is not unto death. He's not going to die, but this sickness is for the glory of God. I decided to speak as Jesus said, because I have all that power, authority, same as Jesus Christ. When I believe, if I speak that sickness, your mother's sickness is not unto death, for the sickness is the glory of God. So when I relay the message, his brother received that message and also relayed that message to his mom. So his mom also, after listening to the message and believed the word of God, then God is going to heal me. This sickness is not unto death. God is not giving me this sickness to kill me or for the death. Through this sickness, God is going to be glorified. She believed. And some other people came to collect money to help her, but she rejected to receive it because she believed that God is going to heal her. So the weekend passed. On Monday, our church brother went to see her mom in the hospital. Doctor called in hurry. "Hey, your mother, what happened? Your mother is completely healed. We don't know what really happened. Your mom's brain became completely normal." "What? Doctor, are you lying?" "No, I'm not lying. it is true. We have checked several times, but your mother's brain is very clean and normal. We can discharge her on this coming Wednesday. Is that true? Doctor, what happened? You told me she has to go for the brain surgery, otherwise she's going to die within 2 months. Yes, but we don't really know. This is a miracle. This is God's works. We don't know what or how these things could happen. So this brother said, yes, our God whom we believe, he said, my mother's sickness is not up to death, but for the glory of God. God fulfilled his promise. Everyone, she has been discharged and living very healthy life, reading Bible and living good spiritual life with his son. What does this story teach us? We always have two thoughts. On one side of our own thought, we have our own view, our own understanding, our worry, our possibility. Is it going to happen? Is it possible? Or on the other side, when you believe the word of God, when you unite your heart into the word of God, God will fulfill his promise with his own way, with his own power. So everyone, remember, you also have received this power when you believe his words. God, he will accomplish his promise with his power, with his method. I hope you can also use the same power based on the faith, believing the word of God, not according to your own thought. Thank you for listening. Let's continue meeting through this Life of Bread channel.